All right, so we've used the term monomial quite a lot. We're going to move on just a little bit with, now we're going to start talking about polynomials. A polynomial, guys, is an expression consisting of many terms. Now, I capitalize many to let you know, obviously, it's considered to be more than one. Now, you guys know when we have expressions, we deal with variables and exponents and multiple variables. We have to end up putting these in standard form just so there's a little bit of an order and consistency. So when we talk about standard form, if your expression is written in standard form, it must be written in alphabetical order, then with the highest exponents. Now, looking at this example right here, we have 4 terms with multiple variables here. This one is in standard form. You guys can see that there's 3 variables there. Those variables are x, but then they are listed with the highest exponent coming first. Now, the highest exponent, it is considered to be or labeled as the degree, okay? And we're going to use that term in just a little bit when we start classifying our types of polynomials. So you know you can classify all types of different things, put them into groups. Well, we're going to classify polynomials, okay? You classify them by their degree, which we just talked about was the largest exponent, and then also by the number of terms that they have, okay? So if we're looking at degrees, and you have a term that does not have an exponent, it will be considered to be constant. If you have one that has 1, it's linear. If the exponent's 2, it's quadratic. 3, it's cubic. 4, it's quartic, okay? Now, then the number of terms, if it has 1 term, obviously it's a monomial, hence the prefix what? Mono. If it's got 2 terms, it's binomial, prefix what? Bi. And then trinomial, the same concept, tri. And then, of course, like we said earlier, a polynomial is an expression that has many terms. So we classify those that have 4 or more as a polynomial. So the first thing that we're going to look at, we're going to classify just a few polynomials right here. Now, we're going to do that based off of degree and the number of terms. So you will use these right up here based on the exponent and the number of terms. We'll classify them in 2 different ways, starting with the degree. All right, so looking at number 1 here, we have the value 6. What is understood to be the exponent here? Or is there one? Is there an exponent there with this? We only have understood exponents with variables. So here, is there any exponent that you guys see? No, there's nothing there. So it will be constant. Okay? Now, how many terms do y'all see there? 1, so it will be monomial. All right, the second one, what's understood to be the exponent here on number 2? 1, so it will be linear. And then how many terms are there? How many terms? Just 1. So it will be monomial. All right. What is the largest exponent that we have here on number 3? Or understood exponent? 1. So it will be linear. And then how many terms do y'all see? 2. So linear binomial. All right, number 4. Largest exponent. The degree would be 2, but what's the degree called? Quadratic. And then the number of terms, we have what? How many terms do y'all see? 3. So trinomial. Okay. Number 5, the degree would be cubic. Ooh. And the number of terms? Binomial. All right. And then the degree for number 6. What's the largest exponent? 4. So that would be quartic. And then the number of terms, it would be polynomial. All right, so we're going to write the following polynomials in standard form. All right, so we go alphabetical order with the highest exponent. Which term is going to be listed first here in standard form? How many variables do we have here? 2. What are they? What are the 2 variables we have? Okay, we have an x and another x, right? So we got 2 x's. So we obviously know x is going to come first, but then we translate to the highest exponent. So which one's going to come first? The 2x what? 2x squared. Then what's going to come next? 3x. Is it going to be plus or minus? Plus. So plus 3x because it's positive. And then plus what? Plus 1. All right. Here on number 8, we've got variables, but they're all the same, so we don't have to look at alphabetical order. We just strictly go to highest exponent. So which one of these is going to come first? Yep, 7x to the 3rd. Then we're going to have what? Plus x what? Squared. After x squared, we're going to have minus x. Be careful. Notice that value for that x right there is negative. Okay? And then after that, then we simply have plus 64. All right, number 9, which one of these values is going to come first? X to the 3rd. Then we've got what? Plus 5x to the 2nd. Then it's going to be plus x or minus x? Minus x, because that value is negative. And then we have our plus 28. So looking at number 10 here, we've got 2 values that have a variable with them, x's. So alphabetical order, we know x is going to come first. Okay, and then we go to the largest exponent. So what's going to come first here? Yep. So x to the 3rd, but it's going to be negative because it's subtracting. So x to the 3rd. Then we're going to have what? Plus the x. And then plus what? 24. Okay? All right, let's look at 11. Now, don't let 11 confuse you because now you guys can kind of see why we start talking about alphabetical order. Most of the time you've dealt with just an X or maybe a Y, but now you've got them joined together. Okay? So alphabetical order, we're going to start with just the single A's. Okay? Single A's and the largest exponent. So what do you guys think is going to come first? A to the 3rd. Good. So we got a to the 3rd. All right. Now what's going to come next? We've got 2 AB's, right? We've got a 2AB and a 5A squared B squared. Okay? So if we have an A and a B both with the same term, then we start looking at the what? Exponents. Okay? So does the 2AB or the 5AB, which one of those has the larger exponents? The 5AB. So then it would be listed next. So we have plus the 5A squared b squared. Then we would go to the 2ab. And then obviously the last thing that we would list would be the what? Minus 2b2 the third. Okay. All right, number 12. Which one are we going to start with? Negative x to the third. Negative x raised to the power of 3. Then we'll have what? The 7. So minus 7x squared y squared. And then we'll go to what? Yep, plus the 5y to the third. And then plus what? 13. So number 11, it's already in standard form. So what's going to happen when you have an x squared plus a 3x squared? What are you going to get? How many x squareds is that going to be? What? Not a trick question. If you have 1x squared and you add a 3x squared to it, it's going to be what? 4x what? Squared. Did y'all think that was a trick question? All right. Then we move to, now we have a negative. Now sometimes, before we move on real quick, sometimes I like to just kind of cancel those out so I know I'm done with them. You guys can, or you don't have to. Okay? All right. So we have 4x squared. Now the next thing that's going to come is a negative 4x plus a negative 3x. What are you going to get when you combine those two together? Negative 7x. And then we have 3 plus a negative 5. That's going to leave us with what? Negative 2. Okay? All right. Now go down and let's look at 13 real quick. Okay? All right, 13, if you guys are looking at those two expressions, they are not in standard form. So I would look at both of the, instead of having to go back, be tedious and rewrite them, put them in standard form, and then go back and add or subtract them, I would just look at these two expressions and figure out which one's going to be listed first in standard form. So which one of these is going to be listed first in standard form? The 7x squared. Okay, so let's take the 7x squared and subtract it from what? Negative 9x squared, because those are like terms. So we've got 7x squared minus a negative 9x squared. What's that going to be? Minus a negative. So that's like adding them. So it's going to be 16x squared. Okay. Now, like I told you before, sometimes I like to take my drawing pen or my regular pen and just cross those out now that I'm done with them. Okay? So now we've got what's going to come next in standard form. Is it the 2x or the minus 3? 2x. So now we have 2x minus a negative 2x. What's that going to be? So plus 4x. And again, I'm finished with those. And again, y'all don't have to, but you can. It helps me sometimes. So now I know all I've got left is the negative 3 minus 3. And negative 3 minus 3 is going to be what? Negative 6. Okay? All right, 17, guys. You notice there's 3 expressions here, but it's no different than having 2, except you're just adding one more to it. Okay, so here, you would still pick out which term goes first. And you would do it looking at these two, okay? So you would simply take the term that needs to go first, subtract it, then pick out the like term from there, and then add it to it. It's no different than a multi-step addition or subtraction problem, except with like terms.